Okay, this is Daniel Holleran with Amet Ministries. This is part 2 of the D-Day update on the upcoming earthquake and tsunami to hit San Francisco. People have been asking me this since last fall. When is this going to happen? God hasn't shown me a date. Sort of. I'm going to get into that. But the thing with God is when He gives you something, if it's of great import, it'll be very severe, very strong, and then it gets closer, closer, closer. The amplitude goes up. So all I can tell you is it can't be much longer, okay? And I will give you a hint later on, possibly, when it may happen. Possibly, okay? Now, Psalm 89:32 says, "Then will I visit their transgression with the rod and their iniquity with stripes." Okay? And there's so many things I probably cannot put into this sermon, this teaching, but there's so many things God has been showing me since last fall. I mean, but just last couple months. I remember, I pray for divine appointments. Every day I learn that from a sister. I don't know her name, but I said, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to pray that every day. So I pray for divine appointments and divine relationships with people. So I was working out in the gym, and I see this man with an orange San Francisco Giants shirt on. And I was witnessing to him, and I told him about the earthquake and the tsunami coming. And then as he turned his back to work out, and I turned mine to proceed with my workout, the back of his shirt was the 1989 World Series. You remember that earthquake between Oakland? It affected both Oakland and San Francisco, the Oakland A's and the San Francisco Giants, okay? Psalm 19:29, and remember that number. "Judgments are prepared for scorners and stripes for the back of fools." Fools, according to the Word, are people who know the truth and don't accept it and don't run with it. 2 Samuel 7:14, "I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men." But here's a counterpoint. 2 Chronicles 7:13 and 14 and 15. "If I shut up heaven that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people," if my people, now classically this meant the Jews. The Jews will always be God's people, but we've been grafted in. The Gentiles and the Jews are now God's people. "If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land." God will relent. "Now mine eyes shall be open and mine ears attent unto the prayer that is made in this place." Now since then, we have a once every 500 years drought hitting California and the Southwest. A couple years ago, God had me prophesy a famine coming to Nebraska. Okay? They voted for an ordinance, the Omaha City Council and Lincoln, where homosexuals can use any restroom. However someone feels. If they feel transgendered that day, they can walk into the opposite gender restroom, even if there are children in there. Okay? So God, this is actually an optimistic, a positive message. But painfully, it's a necessary message. God wishes men would turn to him due to his blessings, but America won't do that. So now God has to severely chasten this country. First, the right side of the country, the East Coast, now the left side. On 9/11 where the towers came down, on 9/11 on the West Coast. Now, God hasn't shown me this, but I don't doubt it, that the towers may stay standing. Okay? But nonetheless, it's going to be a severe judgment, and I'm going to get into the timing of this, okay? Now, let's read a couple more scriptures in Luke 12:47 through 49. And that servant, which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required, and to whom men have committed much, of him shall they ask the more. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? Let's see. Yesterday, God had me run into a woman by the name of Andrea. A few weeks ago, I went in. I asked this lady, this young lady, her name, Andrea. Okay, that's a witness to the San Andreas fault. Okay. Now, this is what I hinted at the timing. This was, I believe, early May. I had been asking the Lord, I said, Lord, I believe that this judgment is going to have to take place around a significant date in America, so Americans will absolutely understand and know. For instance, 9/11. Everyone knows what those three numbers mean on a telephone. That was America's wake-up call, emergency call. The sirens were off all that day. When a person dials 911, what happens? The sirens go to work. Okay? But it was the feckless, cowardly, unmanly ministers in this country, not the unsaved. They spoke the truth more boldly than the ministers in this country. And God's not pleased with that. If you're going to be a Christian, he says, count the cost. Count the cost. Okay? So this was a couple days. I had told the Lord, I said, Lord, would you tell me when this would occur? Well, I was behind a car, and in Nebraska they have these phonetic license plates. And it was abbreviated 21 gun salute. So this was a few weeks before Memorial Day, since that we've already passed. 21 gun salutes are done when the military members are buried during funerals, okay? So I thought possibly this may happen around Memorial Day. It may happen around the 4th of July. Today is the anniversary of D-Day. It may happen today. Now God said this. He said, it was about a week or so later, he said, I want you to go on YouTube where your sermons are on, and I want you to Google, and he took care of my little fingers, and I put in there upcoming San Francisco earthquake, whatever, tsunami. Many people have postings on YouTube. Many people have been shown this by God. Not just in America, but around the world. And so I click on this one, and the woman's name is Esther Will Rise. Okay? And this is a sister from, I believe, from Australia. And as I began to listen to it, she said, when I was above San Francisco and saw the earthquake, and I don't know if she mentioned the tsunami, but she said, I also saw a 21 gun salute. I stopped it and couldn't believe it. So I got a hold of her, and she even said possibly this might denote the timing of this tragedy to hit America. But Esther also mentioned that God had shown us, God showed her to tell us that war would come to the Middle East. Now, coincidentally, God had also shown me that we would be at war with Russia and China. Didn't tell me when, but it's not going to be far off. So what I'm trying to say is I'm not sure, and I don't think Esther is sure yet either, whether the 21 gun salute denotes that this will happen on a militarily significant day, or in tandem with the earthquake and the tsunami hitting San Francisco, we may be mixing it up with Russia and China. Okay? Now, when this Ukraine thing just began, I was in the gym, and somebody had left behind a Wikipedia article on the Ukraine. Okay. Now, God also showed me this. I'm gonna go back and forth on things. I'll cover this and then we'll do another segment. Everyone in America should be aware of this man. Henry Groover. Okay, and I don't believe in blowing up Christian balloons. We're to give the Lord the glory. But he's a very humble minister of God. Okay, Joyful Sound Ministries out of Woodbine, Iowa. He's been on Steve Quayle, Rick Wiles, True News. You know, he's a well-known minister. Okay, very humble man. Prophecy Club. He's a prayer walker. He's been to the White House several times. He knows the royal family in England, Great Britain rather. Oh, he knows people in Israel. He's a very humble person. And I remember seeing him a couple of years ago. He especially ministers to Japan. He had come back. He had just missed the tsunami, okay, that hit in Japan. And he's the first person I heard this from. But of course, Japan denounced Israel on the floor of the UN. God gave them a year to the day to repent. Then God's judgment hit. So right after God showed me, that Wikipedia article on the Ukraine, and this began to bubble, okay, God also showed me this from the Prophecy Club, published by them, but you can find it on the internet. I don't know if Stan Johnson still has this in his ministry. Probably does. 35 prophecies, dreams, and visions for America. You see Dimitri Duduman there. You see? Can you make that out? You got to be able to understand what that denotes. And also, Henry Groover's vision. I saw submarines attack America. He had a vision when he was above a castle. He was on a castle, he had a vision, and then he was above the earth in Scotland. And Henry had this 1986. So this was, I think, 3 years before the wall even came down. And he saw Russian subs off both of our coasts. He goes on to say he saw radio towers. He thought they were transmitting radio frequencies. Now he said now he knows they're cell phone towers. Then I was going to work and I was reaching for some cologne. Okay. And what do I have? 5 or 6 cassettes by Henry Groover. Now I want to come back to this. Henry's got a message. If you can help this man's ministry, send him some money. The purging of America. In other words, God's going to clean up America. I don't believe God's done with America. Okay? And of course, Dimitri Duduman has passed on. Let's see here. But his grandson, Michael Boldea, Hand of Help Ministries, is also a watchman like his grandfather. Okay? Now I'm going to bring that up. I'll tell you what, I'm going to get into that during the next segment. So this has been Daniel Holloran with the Met Ministries, the D-Day update on the upcoming tsunami and earthquake to hit San Francisco.